Welcome to the Project Elevate recruitment session for CSUSB. My name is Angie Stone McDonald and I'm the project director. Project Elevate is a specific program for students who want to earn their credential and master's in early childhood special education, or ECSE, and work in the field of early childhood special education, meaning working with children with disabilities from birth to kindergarten. So that includes children with disabilities in early intervention or birth to 3, children in preschool, children in kindergarten, and children in transitional kindergarten in between, or 4-year-olds. My name is Dr. Angie Stone McDonald, and I'm the program director and an early childhood special education faculty member, as well as the department chair for special education, rehab, and counseling, the department where this program sits. We have 2 other project faculty, Dr. Shannon Sparks, who's a co-PI and the Credential program coordinator, as well as a member of our core special education faculty, who will be advising around your Credential program. Then we also have Dr. Gemma Kim, who's a co-PI of Project Elevate and the Master's Program Coordinator and a core special education faculty member. And Dr. Kim will be advising around your Master's program. For Project Elevate, which stands for Empowering Learners Through Evidence-Based Practices and Virtual Access to Technology-Rich Education, this is a federally funded grant program that is to support early childhood special educators to get their credential and their master's program. It is what we consider a loan forgiveness program because it does require that for the money provided to you for your tuition and fees, a stipend, and some other things, that we pay that money on your behalf as a loan to cover the cost of your education, and then you forgive that loan by doing service to the field, or in other words, serving as an early childhood special education teacher with your credential to have those costs forgiven. And it is 2 years of service for every year of funding. So our program is 2 years long generally, which means you would have 4 years of service that you would owe after you completed this program. Within Project Elevate, all of your tuition and fees are covered for your credential and master's courses, as well as the 3 prerequisite courses that you take at the very beginning. We also offer a modest living stipend per semester. Currently, we're estimating that at $2,000 per semester to help cover the cost of books, parking when you do need to come to campus for one Saturday a month, and any other expenses that you might incur. We understand that that is not a lot of money to cover the overall expenses that you have in your life, but we hope that this will offset some of those costs. In your first semester, we will also provide you with a $1,000 technology stipend, and that is because our program is very heavily based within technology and the use of your computer, and so we want to make sure that you do have a good working computer that can do all of the things necessary to participate in the program. Finally, within the program, our special education credential program, there are generally 2 options available. The student teaching option, which is our more traditional option, and then the intern option. And just so that you understand the difference, with the student teaching option, you're taking all of your classes, you'll do your early field work in placements for a certain number of hours in the semester, but you can keep your job, whatever it is that you're doing, and you can continue to do what you need to do as you take your classes throughout the first 3 semesters of the program. But then in your final semester, you must work as a full-time student teacher. So you're working full-time in the schools as a student teacher with children in the pre-K to K grade levels for early childhood special education. For interns, if you chose to do an intern option, that would mean that you would be working as a teacher of record full-time in the schools. You would be that teacher that's in charge of the entire classroom. You would get paid as an intern, which is almost as much as a credentialed teacher gets, and that would be a 2-year commitment during that time while you finish your program. But if you chose to be an intern, you would not be eligible for Project Elevate. So that's why you must choose the student teaching option. So what are some of the requirements if you would like to do Project Elevate? Well, one is that you need to communicate regularly with project faculty throughout your program, and we will communicate with you. You need to attend mentoring sessions and advising sessions. And so with both of these first things, we want you to be responding to emails in a timely manner. We will ask you to complete paperwork at various times, including the start and the end of your program, as well as completing some other paperwork within an online system where we track how much we've paid on your behalf and what kind of work you're doing. And we'll ask that you do complete this paperwork. That is a requirement. And then we also will have a Saturday professional learning community, or we as a group will get together to do various activities that will support your education in person on campus, and we'll do that once per semester. And that will be 5 to 6 hours on campus of various activities. And so you are required to attend that Saturday PLC. And then you must complete your program with grades of B or better in all of your classes to earn your credential and your master's. And then, of course, at the end, you have to successfully complete your student teaching. And then finally graduate, and you must do the service to the field for loan forgiveness. So if you take 2 years to complete your program, you would have 4 years of service. If you were to not be able to complete that service for any reason, you would have to pay back all of the money to the government that was paid on your behalf. And so a couple of important FAQs to make sure that you understand this and you are eligible. The first one is that this is pending government funding. So at this time, we have the money. We think that we will continue to have the money, but it is a congressional allocation. So depending on what Congress does, it is possible that we could lose the money and then we would not be able to provide that funding that we're promising you. So I do have to let you know that. Also, if you don't complete the credential and master's program, and so then you're not able to work in the field doing the job of an early childhood special education teacher, you will be responsible for the costs of the program, whatever you did complete, to the government. So if you do, for example, 1 year of the program, but you can't finish, then you would have to pay back the money that we had paid up until that point. And then finally, you must be a U.S. citizen to do this program. That is a federal requirement. That's not our requirement. And you also cannot have any previous loan defaults. It's okay if you have previous student loans. That's completely fine as long as you've been paying on them or you're in a deferment or anything that is normal processes. But if you've defaulted on any of your loans, you would not be eligible. Next, we're going to look at the program plan for Project Elevate. So in the first year, what we recommend is that you start in the summer, and we will cover the cost of these credits to take our 2 prerequisite courses and then our first course in the program. So ESPE 5530, 5531, and 5532. These are all offered in the summer, and all of them are offered asynchronously, so you complete the work on your own during the summer during a certain period of time, but you will be communicating with the faculty members through a course to do this particular work. Next, for the first semester in your first year, you would take 9 units, and so 2 courses in the Credential program. Those are in white or unshaded, and then 1 course in the Master's program, which is the course shaded in purple. And then in your second semester of your first year, you would take 3 courses, but 2 of them have a 1-unit practicum or early fieldwork component, and so you would be placed for those particular courses. So it's a total of 11 units, but 6634 and 6633 and 6634 go together, and then 6637 and 6638 go together, and then you would take 6602 as your master's course because it's shaded in purple. And then in your second year or your third semester, you would again take 9 units, 6639 and 6672, and then 1 master's course, which is 6665. And then in your final semester, your fourth semester, you would again take 9 units, but one of those courses would be 6673, and then 6619 is your student teaching, so you'd be doing full-time student teaching. And then you would also take your comprehensive exam for the master's course. It is a 0-unit course, but there is a fee associated with it, and the program would cover this fee for Project Elevate scholars. So if you have any questions about this program or the project or being an early childhood special education teacher, I encourage you to email me at angie.stone-macdonald@csusb.edu, and that's here on your screen. You can also email the program admissions people at coeinfo@csusb.edu, and they can answer many of your questions. But if you are interested in being an early childhood special education teacher and you would like to know more about Project Elevate and how we can support you, I highly encourage you to get in touch. And finally, if you would like to learn more or apply for Project Elevate for the summer of 2026, there's a form here that you can complete. It's also, this link will also be with this webinar online so that it's easier for you to link to. And then once you have completed your application, we can reach out to you to do a interview for Project Elevate specifically. Please keep in mind that the application for the university for the Credential and Master's program is one thing, and that's done on Cal State Apply with support from our program admissions team. And then Project Elevate is a separate program that you apply for through using this form, and then we conduct an interview with you to see if you're a good fit. And to go over some of the requirements and then see if we could admit you there. You can still do the early childhood special ed credential and or credential and master's program even if you don't do Project Elevate at CSUSB, but we hope that if you're interested in early childhood special education that you will consider Project Elevate. Finally, I will just add that right now we are recruiting for summer courses, but a fall start for the program officially for the early childhood special ed credential. But if by the time you see this particular webinar, it's too late for the summer courses, you can also start in the fall as an option. We hope to hear from you soon.